Hi everyone, welcome back to Class Go Education online YouTube learning channels. This is Gaurav and today I will let you know about the steam power plant. So this particular lecture is in Hindi as well as in English. All the technical topics I will cover in English. So let's start with the thermal power plant. So as you know that thermal energy is the major source of power generation and more than 50% of electric power produced today in India is basically just because of the steam power plants. The total installed capacity data of coal and lignite is basically governed just by the Central Electricity Authority. So Central Electricity Authority will take care of all the installed data and all such stuff. Okay. Third important question one can ask you, what is the efficiency of thermal power plant? So you must remember this thing, that the overall efficiency of thermal power plant is very less, that is from 16% to 21%. Why it is so? Because in a steam power station more than 50% of total heat of combustion is lost as heat rejected to the condenser, and this loss is unavoidable as heat energy cannot be converted into mechanical energy without a drop in temperature, and the steam in condenser is at lowest temperature, and that is the reason that thermal efficiency of power plant is quite low, that is from 16% to 21%. Okay, so now we will understand this layout with segregating this particular layout into 4 sections. So over here you will see that in section 1 I will brief you just about the coal handling plant and ash handling plant. Another important section which we will take care of, that section is basically furnace, boiler, economizer, heater, air preheater and all such stuff. Okay. And third important section we will take care of when the steam is expanded in the turbine and turbine just govern the alternator. So at the turbine input, the pressure energy or the kinetic energy that will get converted into the mechanical energy, and that mechanical energy is available on the prime mover of the alternator, and that mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy. The voltage is further stepped up. Over here you can see that voltage is further stepped up, and then to reduce the transmission line such sort of stepping up of voltage is required. So this is the section whereby generation takes place and your alternator is placed. So these alternators do have a speed of 3000 rpm for 2 pole, and for 4 pole it would be 1500 rpm. Okay. Over here you can see 4 important sections which every steam power plant engineer should know. That is basically air preheater, role of air preheater, economizer, superheater. Okay. Over here you can see deaerator is there. So these are the crucial equipment used in steam power plant. And one of the most important equipment that is used over here, that is boiler. So what actually the boiler is? So boiler is a steam generator which converts water into steam, and from one of the major equipment in a steam power plant. Okay. Boilers used in steam power plants are of two types: fire tube boilers and water tube boilers. You must remember this thing. For central steam power plants, large capacity water tube boilers are preferred. Water tube boilers essentially consist of drums and tubes. Okay. So what actually happens in this particular layout, individually we have to take care of. Now firstly we will start with this coal storage plant and ash handling plant. In brief I will let you know about the coal storage plant. So you must remember this thing, what actually the coal is all about, what type of coal is preferred, and there are some sort of qualities of coal. Like if you just see, you have listened that the coal is about peat. Okay, bituminous, anthracite, subanthracite, subbituminous. So there are different varieties of coals. Now, what actually we have to take care of coal, that you must remember. So what, any idea? Just have a guess of classification of coal. Okay, so coals can be classified in increasing order of heat or calorific value, namely peat, lignite, subbituminous, bituminous, semi-bituminous, semi-anthracite, anthracite, and superanthracite. You must remember this thing, that bituminous coal, okay, have low moisture content and non disintegrating properties, and it is the most common variety of coal and is widely used for almost all purposes. Bituminous coals may be classified as caking or cooking and free burning. It has 60 to 80% of carbon and 6 to 10% of ash, and enthalpy of combustion is very high. So it is widely used in power plants. Okay. So now that coal is collected into a coal storage plant with the help of what? With the help of various mechanisms, like through railways, through roads. Railway mechanism is preferred. Now in India has a large deposit of coal, okay, around 170 billion tons in Bengal, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, etc. So now coal is collected, and then huge blocks of coals were just transported through a conveyor belt, and those big coals, big blocks are basically crushed into various bunkers and then pulverized into smaller granular parts. Okay. Now what will actually happens, that in boiler section we do have a furnace as well, where the combustion takes place. Very small size of the coal, you can say, thereby in furnace combustion takes place, and with the help of combustion in the water tube boilers the steam is produced. Okay. Now in brief, if we talk about the functioning of power plant or this steam power plant, so you must know this thing, that this particular cycle used over here is basically based on the Rankine cycle. Okay. So steam power plant basically operates on the Rankine cycle. Coal is burnt in a boiler. Coal is burnt in a boiler which converts water into steam. The steam is expanded in a turbine which produces mechanical power driving the alternator coupled to the turbine. The steam after the expansion in prime mover is usually condensed in a condenser to be fed into the boiler again. In practice, however, large number of modification and improvements have been made so far so that the economy of thermal power plant can be improved. Okay, so this is the basic concept. Now we will take some important accessories over here, equipments which I talked about. We will take care of those equipments. Now what is the function of superheater and reheater use? Okay, so where superheater and reheaters are there, so over here you can see this is the superheater. Okay, and with the superheater we are having reheater as well. Okay, so what is the function of superheater if someone asks you? And so you must say this thing, that superheaters are used in steam power plants to remove the last traces of moisture from the saturated steam leaving the boiler tubes, and also to increase its temperature above the saturation temperature from the heat of combustion gases from the furnace. Okay, so superheaters are used in steam power plants to remove the last traces of moisture and raise the temperature. Reheaters are used in steam power plants to re-superheat the partially expanded steam from the turbine so that the steam remains dry as far as possible through the last stage of the turbine. Remember, reheaters are used in steam power plants to superheat the partially expanded steam from the turbine so that the steam remains dry as far as possible through the last stage of the turbine. Now, let us understand what is actually the economizer. What is actually the economizer and what is actually the air preheater. So these two we have to understand. So what actually the economizer and air preheater do? So economizer and air preheaters are such devices which recover the heat from the flue gases on their way to the chimney. Where chimney is placed over here, you can say this is the chimney. So what economizer and air preheater does, that economizer and air preheater are such devices which recover the heat from the flue gases on their way to the chimney and raise the temperature of feed water and air supplied for combustion respectively. Okay, thus the overall efficiency of these steam plants can be increased. Now, second important thing, I have used the word condenser. So where is the condenser? So condenser is placed over here. So what is the role of condenser? Now let us understand. The condenser does the job of condensing the steam exhausted from the turbine. So over here you can see the steam which is exhausted by the turbine. What condenser does? So condenser does the job of condensing the steam exhausted from the turbine, and thus it helps low pressure at the exhaust, thereby permitting the expansion of steam in the turbine to a very low pressure. This improves the plant efficiency as well. Now, someone can ask you, why is it necessary to maintain high vacuum in a condenser? Then what you will reply? The simple answer is this, that maintenance of high vacuum in the condenser is essential for efficient operation. Any leakage of air into the condenser destroys the vacuum and causes an increase in the condenser pressure, which limits the useful heat drop in the prime mover. And a lowering of the partial pressure, you can say a lowering of, or you can say partial pressure can be reduced, okay, of steam. So this is the basic purpose that vacuum in a condenser is maintained. Okay, so this is the important point. Now you may also heard that what actually the induced draft fan is, what actually the forced draft fan is, what is balanced draft. So all such stuff, if you want that, let me know in comment. I will brief them there, but in just brief I will let you know about the induced draft fan and the forced draft fan. So induced draft fan, you can say, or induced draft system, that is the blower which is installed near the base of chimney, and burnt gases are sucked out of the boiler, reducing the pressure inside the boiler to less than atmospheric pressure. So this induces fresh air to enter the furnace. In case of forced draft system, the blower is installed near the base of the boiler. So location you must take care. Forced draft system is the blower which is installed near the base of the boiler, and induced draft system is placed, or you can say induced draft boiler blower is basically installed near the base of the chimney. So induced draft is related to chimney and forced draft is related to boiler. So these two important points you must take care of. What is balanced draught? So balanced draught is a combination of induced draught and forced draught. In a balanced draught system, the pressure of the air below the boiler grate is above atmospheric, and that above the grate is below atmospheric. So this is the importance of balanced draught. Okay, and last important thing, one can ask that why thermal plants are not suitable for supplying fluctuating loads. So you must remember this thing. Thermal power plants are not suitable for supplying the fluctuating load because starting and shutting down time is large. Okay, because what actually happens, if there is any fluctuation in load, so there would be a load demand, and you know that there is a complete process whereby input energy is produced by burning of coal, okay, and then steam temperature increased with the help of superheater and all such stuff. So there would be a time lag between the change in the load and the supplied amount of energy. So thermal plants are not suitable for supplying fluctuating loads. So for that purpose you can go for the pumped storage. Okay, for that purpose you can go for the pumped storage. Pumped storage could be in terms of hydro pumped storage. What is the maximum speed through an alternator where central thermal power plants basically put or you can say put emphasis on, that is 3000 rpm for two pole alternator. So these are the important questions, and I think if further you have any doubt or any sort of question related to this particular layout, please do let me know. I will certainly provide you a brief intro of those particular technical topics in another video, and try to make this particular video more effective by commenting and by discussing on various aspects of thermal power plant. A simple take home assignment for you all, that let me know what is electrostatic precipitator in thermal power does. Okay, so thanks for watching, have a good day. Please do subscribe if you find this lecture helpful, and let me know your feedback.